Got all packed up and all geared up, heading off to Panama City Beach. And I think my first stop's going to be for some gas. I think I'm going to hop around this way. Guy's got a big old cruiser, bagger. Alright, turn that off. Here's the fun part. Take my visor up. This is how you fuel up at a gas station when you're on a motorcycle packed full of stuff. So, got my wallet in my front jacket pocket. I just have to unzip that. It ain't going anywhere. Let's see here. We go with this card. And there we go. And yeah. Blur some stuff out here. Alright. Do I want to join? No, thank you. No, I don't want a car wash. That'd be kind of weird. Oh, super premium is under $5. I'm here for it. There's a moment where you want to practice a little mindfulness and keep your attention focused on the thing that you're doing.
I used to travel like that.
Yeah?
20 minutes to find something whenever you go off the road somewhere.
Yeah, this is the beginning of my trip. I'm going all the way up to Washington.
Washington?
Yeah. So
that bike right there, the year I got it, I took it all the way to Fairbanks, down to Anchorage, and back here again.
Okay, yeah.
It's got 61,000 miles on it. It's only 3 years old.
That's awesome.
I've done maybe 250,000 miles in the last 20 years. I take off every year for at least a month.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I got all my camping gear and everything. I'm pretty...
Yeah, that's the way I used to travel. Waterproof bags, all that shit. Now I got a trailer.
Yeah.
I put regular suitcases in it and a cooler.
Yeah. Well, I got this instead of like a bagger or something, you know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah, it's a Himalayan. This thing will go off-road anywhere you want to go, really.
Yeah,
so.
what size is it?
It's a 411, I think.
400 cc.
Yeah,
single.
Yeah, single banger. Yeah.
Wow.
Not a lot of power, but you know it'll get you to where you need to go.
I rode dirt bikes for many years. I was like 12 years old. You know, dirt bikes, then onto the rice rockets, and finally I grew up and started riding these things.
Yeah.
Hey, have a good one.
All right, thanks. You too. All right, that's about good enough. All right. Look at that, only $10.38 to fill her up from a quarter of a tank.
So where you going in Washington?
Spokane. Yeah, I got some friends out there. I used to live out there, and so I'm just kind of taking my time, about 4 or 5 hours a day. So I'll go to like New Orleans, Beaumont, Texas, and then San Antonio. Then there's a little town called Sheffield. It's like in between there and I think.
Take interstates, I like to get on a lot of two-lane wherever I can.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I'm worried about the winds, the high winds on the freeways stuff, especially in western Texas. So I think I might try to find a way around that. But is it?
Route 10 across Texas sucks. 40 sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually try and find a good point. I'm headed up to Idaho Falls.
Oh yeah.
At the end of July.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I got some relatives up there.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll be right next to Coeur d'Alene.
I usually, I've been doing like 5 to 550 a day, but I'm going to cut it back this year. I'm going to keep it down to around 400 miles a day. That gives me more time to stop when I see shit, you know?
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to check out all the sites, well, you know, while I'm going, just take my time and relax with it. You know?
You got plenty of time to stop. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nobody cracking a whip, you know?
Exactly.
So
all those years I used to do, I only had so much time because I worked for a living, you know. But I've been retired for 13 years, you know. No sense to keep pushing myself like that.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, take it easy.
Yeah, you too. Oh, whoops. You don't want to turn it off first. There we go. So while I'm riding here, I'm going to talk about some things that are related to riding that I think instinctually know when they ride a motorcycle, but they don't really think about it in these terms. But I really think that riding a motorcycle is a great way to meditate. It's similar to in the Shaolin Grandmaster's text they talk about with Kung Fu. You can use it for self-defense, right? If you want to learn how to defend yourself, and that's obviously the reason why you learn martial arts. But in the meantime, while you're learning it, you're paying very close attention to all the forms that they're teaching you and the mechanics of how to move your body. You know, how to stand properly, how to properly throw a punch or a kick. You know, all those things where you're like, you know, what? This is a new thing to me, and I need to pay very close attention to it so that I can learn how to do it properly. Because it's important that I do learn how to do it properly so that I don't hurt myself. And it's kind of the same thing with motorcycles, right? Where you really want to pay very close attention when you're learning to everything that you're doing. You might not be the best at it when you're learning how to do it, but you pay attention, very close attention to what you're doing, so that later on, after you've practiced it a bunch of times and paid very close attention to it, you get the opportunity to start doing it just out of muscle memory or habit. And you know, that's really the aim of any kind of practice for any kind of thing that's a specialized task. It's not something that you do in your everyday life normally, or not something that you have done. So like with motorcycling, you know, you can obviously ride a motorcycle every single day of your life if you want, and then it becomes something that you do regularly. But if you know, you're talking about martial arts, obviously you're probably not going to be fighting every day, defending yourself. And in fact, it's actually a fairly rare occurrence, right? Hopefully, it's the goal. And so, you know, when you're learning martial arts, it's really something that you haven't done before in your life, and it's something you don't intend to be doing every single day of your life, at least not putting it into practice in the real world, in actual real fights. You can practice martial arts every single day if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, probably not going to happen. People have a lot of things going on in their lives. They don't have time to practice martial arts every day, all day. So, you know, you pay attention to these things while you're doing them, you know. Your focus has to be 100% on what it is that you're doing right now. Because if you're not paying attention to what you're doing when you're learning how to do something new, then you're probably not going to retain that information very well. And then when it comes time for you to have to do something later, perform that task. If you weren't paying attention when you were learning it, you're probably not going to be very good at it in the future. So that's why you pay close attention to what you're doing when you're doing it, when you're learning new things. Oh shit, I was in second gear. So, it's like, and so that is the epitome of meditation right there. That is what meditation is paying complete and total attention to what you are doing right now in this moment. I am not being a good example of that while I'm riding here and talking to you, because really I should just be focusing 100% of my attention on riding a motorcycle. And it's similar to training for martial arts, or being in this is similar to being in an actual fight. In the text, Shaolin, the order of Shaolin, they talk about being in an actual real live fight is probably the point in your life where you're going to be, the most, you're going to be paying the most attention. What is going on here? It's flapping around. Did I forget to? I think I did. Alright. I have to stop. Anyway, so in a fight, in a real street fight, no rules, anything like that, you really have to pay very close attention to everything that's going on. You're hyper focused on this moment now and nothing else. Nothing else really matters, because this is life or death potentially, or you could get seriously injured, and you really don't want that, hopefully. I mean, that's the goal, is to not get injured generally. I'm gonna park over here because these people, you get car salesmen just staring at you. It's actually happened before, where I had to do something and I pulled into a car dealership and they were all glaring at me like, what's this guy doing? Alright, throw her in neutral. Oh, that's second. There we go. I have to take my take my gloves off, because you can't do this with your gloves on. It'd be nice if this wasn't on a hill. Alright. Slope of some kind. I think I can get it done with just my left glove off. Salesmen are probably going to come up to me while I'm doing this. Hey, you need a car? Really not, thanks. Just here to put my chin strap on. Yeah, I don't know if I can do this. It's just my left hand. Oh, I got it. Perfect. Slapped in the face with my chin straps. That's how your helmet lets you know that you forgot to do something. See, no matter how mindful you try to be, you try to think of everything, it's not always possible. And the whole reason why we practice it with meditation is so that we get to the point where hopefully actually fully mindful at all times. And just sitting around staring at a wall all day is probably not going to result in. Nice. Okay. You're probably not going to get much experience actually paying attention to what's going on around you. If you're staring at a wall trying to ignore everything that's around you, I don't understand why people think that that's the way to meditate, how that's going to help you with the actual goal of paying attention to what's going on around you all the time. and being in a world filled with chaos and change, impermanence, you're not really exercising that muscle, so to speak, of paying attention, being in the present moment. If you're sitting there trying to do everything you can to ignore the present moment, which is what a lot of people think of when they think of meditation. But from a Shaolin standpoint, really what the goal is to get to a point where you're able to pay attention to the present moment under any circumstances at all times. And the only way that you're really going to get to that is what we've been talking about is I guess you'd call it concerted effort to just be aware of the present, of everything that's going on around you in the present moment. So when you're on a motorcycle riding, right now I'm paying attention to my side view mirrors, my rear view mirrors that I have, so that I know if there's any cars coming up behind me. I'm paying attention to the fact that these lights are on in front of me, the brake lights, and how that's going to affect me in the near future. And I'm looking further down the road at the same time to see what the flow of traffic and what the conditions are up there. I'm looking at this car here that's trying to turn, left-hand turn car. That was a nice Mustang. You gotta. A lot of times it's a car that's trying to turn left, like right here, that will actually not see a motorcyclist, and it's one of the biggest hazards for motorcyclists on the road as far as other drivers are concerned. So you're always on the lookout for cars that are trying to take a left across your lane. And also trying to pay attention to the car to the next to you. If I was in the middle lane, I'd have to be paying attention to the cars that are on both sides of me, either coming up behind me, or maybe I'm in their blind spot. The GT. I've got a soft spot for Mustangs. A lot of motorcyclists out today, most of them not wearing any gear, as is usually the case here in Florida. It's very easy to see. To run across somebody wearing a t-shirt while they're riding their motorcycle. That's a part of right effort. I don't know, whoever's watching may or may not be aware of the eightfold path and all the different rights that we have. Right effort, right meditation, right action, all that fun stuff. Come on, buddy. I don't want to put my foot down if I don't have to. Come on, Mississippi. There you go. I don't want to change lanes too much. I like being in the right lane, even though it's generally a little bit slower. I usually will have more time to assess the situation of somebody turning left across my lane, especially when I'm in 3 lanes. And I don't have anybody to my right, so I can just pay attention to my left. I just like being here. I'll stay in this lane as long as I can. But yeah, so when you're talking about Kung Fu, when the Order of Shaolin talks about Kung Fu, they talk about, in meditation, being in a fight is one of the most meditative moments in your life. You really have no choice but to pay complete attention to everything that's going on around you. What's happening in the fight? What is my opponent doing? What are my surroundings? What's my environment? What's around me that could either hurt me or help me in the fight? What are my escape routes? if I need to escape, and then also assessing, in real time and very, very quickly to react to whatever my opponent is doing, to try to anticipate his next move and to prepare for it by either, getting out of the way of any kind of attack, or if they've got a weapon, I have to be laser focused on that weapon and how to remove it from their hands, and, disarm them, and how to do that, what technique to apply. And if I haven't been practicing those techniques with full attention during, time at the dojo or whatever, then they're not going to be muscle memory. And I'm going to be trying to figure out how really to pull off this technique in real time, which is not really the best time to be learning. It's really the best time to just be reacting and using the knowledge and skills that you already have. And if you don't have those knowledge and skills because you haven't been paying attention during practice, then you're probably going to fail. And so the same thing goes for motorcycles, right? There's a lot at stake on a motorcycle. I'm totally exposed out here. If something goes wrong, if this guy slams on his brakes right now, just out of nowhere, I'm screwed. And I just had this guy creeping up behind me, so I couldn't have really moved out of the way if he had. So, if you're not paying full attention to what's going on around you at all times on a motorcycle, something can go very wrong very quickly, and you will be either seriously injured or possibly even killed in a lot of situations on a motorcycle. Motorcycles are very heavy themselves. Right now I've got probably a couple 100 pounds of weight behind me, and it's just, I'm in a precarious situation here that could potentially have very negative consequences if I make a mistake. I don't perceive a threat before it's too late, and give myself enough time to react. Like I have a car coming up behind me right now, a big truck. If I weren't paying attention to that and he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing, I might have to get rear-ended, and that's not fun. So that's the reason why I was angled to the left of this guy, trying to angle my front tire in between the two cars there, so that if that truck hadn't been stopping, I could have just easily pulled straight ahead in between those two cars, and he would have rammed into this guy instead of me, which would have definitely resulted in a lot less injury probability, lower chance of anybody actually getting hurt from that, because you're in a car, you got cushions around you and airbags, and cars are made to collapse on, with pressure like that. Motorcycles do not have room to collapse for you and give you like a safe little cocoon to I try not to waddle when I stop, but sometimes you got no choice. So even I see this other car coming up here behind the guy behind me. If that person wasn't paying attention and slammed into the guy behind me, then that guy's going to slam into me. That's why I'm still angled this way, even though that car behind me was right behind me when I came to a stop. I still want to give myself an exit. And that's the kind of thing, you have to pay attention to what's going on behind you, what's going on in front of you. When is the light turning green? How fast is everybody going? You're looking at the next intersection to determine whether or not there's traffic stopped at the light there, so that if there's somebody who isn't paying attention and they're going to maybe run a red light, well, maybe they'll just smack into the car that's already stopped at the light, and you don't have to really worry about that. You can kind of, focus on other things. But when nobody's stopped at the light, then you have to worry about somebody who isn't paying attention coming through that intersection, and it's not good. You also have to think about other people's visibility to you. You can't assume that everyone on the road can see you. You have to not necessarily act as though nobody can see you, but assume that it's very likely, or at least possible, that other people on the road don't see you. And if that's the case, then they're not going to obviously take you into account when they do something erratic or unexpected. Like this guy, he saw me, I saw him, but he's just a crazy driver. But I saw him getting a little squirrely about being behind this guy in the red car, so I kind of rolled off the throttle a little bit to give him a little bit more room. A little engine braking action. Just in case. And that's the thing you got to do. You got to constantly be paying attention to every single thing that's going on around you, because if you don't, then there's going to be potentially some very serious consequences that you really don't want to have to be involved with at all. So, oh fuck, never mind. I thought this was going to be a right lane. I hate that when you get an extra lane for like one light, and then it's like, alright, you got to turn right. What? So I really think that motorcycling is an excellent entrance to Buddhism. It's definitely a good way of discussing meditation, for sure, and understanding meditation and its goals and all that. Because when you're on a bike and you're paying attention to everything that's going on around you, because that's what you want to be doing, you're not paying attention to anything else. You are practicing mindfulness. And I think that's an excellent way to get into that, for sure. I don't know why we're going 45 and a 55 here. I think it's that box truck or trailer, whatever it is, in front of us. So I'm going to join the crowd and go around them. So when, in my initial intro video, I was talking about how I want to, the reasons why I'm doing this moto vlog, why I'm sharing this with you. It's not necessarily just because I happen to be on a motorcycle, but I think motorcycling is actually an excellent way to talk about Buddhism, for sure. At least Buddhist principles, kind of core values, because especially with Chan Buddhism, Chan actually literally means meditation. So when you are meditating, you are doing Chan. And meditating is not something that you only do when you're sitting on a nice comfortable mat in a quiet room with as few distractions as possible. Although it is, I suppose, easier to practice that, and that's, that is the reason why people tell you to practice meditation on a comfortable mat in a quiet room. But it really does not prepare you for the actual real world, where everything is changing around you constantly. There's constant distractions everywhere, and how to actually pay attention to the present moment and not be chasing those distractions every time they pop up. Learning how to prioritize your actions. For example, if you're, just the other day I was watering some plants in the garden, and my dog was out in the yard with me, and she decided to, drop a little landmine for the squirrels to smell. So we keep her around to chase the squirrels off, the bird feeders, and so she likes to mark her territory out there. And I had to decide right then and there while she was doing that. You know, I was focused on watering at the time, but then a distraction came up where it's my dog has to go to the bathroom, and so you know, the question at that point is this mess that I now have to clean up, is that important enough that I have to clean it up right now? Will I remember to do it later if I put it off right now? Can I stop doing what I'm doing without causing any harm? Or, you know, really adding too much complexity to my life or whatever, you know? It's just prioritizing things. I opted to continue watering the plants because I thought, you know, I'll just make a mental note of where the landmine is and then come back with you know, a bag and pick it up, no problem. You know, there was no emergency there, and there was really no need for me to continue on with watering the plants, but I figured I had the hose in my hand already and I was already doing that, and I'd just come back to the mess afterwards and clean that up. But that happened to be the wrong answer because I ended up forgetting all about it and scrolling, and whoa, that was not good. Fell into a little groove right there. I never came back to pick up the mess, and somebody else had to clean it up after me, and that's not good. So, Jesus. Alright, this road sucks. I'm gonna have to pay attention to it. It looks like somebody was trailering something, and maybe their hitch you know, popped off. They obviously exited right here because they knew something was wrong. But it looks like they were dragging something on the pavement for a while, and it just caused this deep gash in the asphalt. And then there's a few. These aren't the best roads in Florida here. This is 19, State Route 19. It's a pretty long road. Getting a lot of wobblies. But yeah, you're not going to make the right decision, or quote-unquote right decision every time. But you learn from that, right? As long as you're paying attention and you know you have a system for dealing with distractions as they come up, right? You don't just let the distraction completely take over your entire and become what you're doing now without, you know, some kind of intention behind the change in direction. And that's what meditating is all about, is being in the present moment and you know, taking it seriously, attention, and making conscious decisions about your life and what you're going to do, rather than letting life just kind of pull you in whatever direction it feels like pulling you in. Might as well just stop recording here. There's really not much else going on. Thanks for watching.